Impossible. He should be dead, yet he walks again. Alira moved quietly through the jungle of planet Virella. The leaves were thick and glowing in the dim light. Strange sounds echoed all around her, growls, clicks, and whispers from creatures unseen. She was not afraid, but something felt wrong. Tonight, she was a scout, trained to track, trained to sense danger, and now, every part of her body told her something strange was near. Then she heard it, a faint groan, low and human, coming from behind the broken trees near the crash site. Alira paused, eyes wide. No one should have survived that blast. The warship fell from orbit, and the explosion wiped out everything within 100 clicks. It was a graveyard now, still. She followed the sound, step by step, through ash and twisted metal. Then she saw him, a human male, lying on the ground, half covered in rubble. His skin was burned, armor melted, blood drying on his neck. He wasn't moving. Alira crouched beside him, her hand trembling. She pressed her scanner to his chest, expecting nothing, but then the screen blinked green, vital signs. Active, she whispered in disbelief. She checked again. The scanner showed a weak pulse, brain activity, and somehow healing tissue. That's impossible, she muttered. Humans weren't this strong. No one was. The man's eyelids fluttered. Then he coughed a wet, broken sound. His eyes opened slowly, and they met hers. Where am I? He whispered. Alira pulled back, nearly dropping the scanner. You're alive, she said, more to herself than to him. The human blinked, confused and in pain. She saw fear in his eyes, but also something else. Scam. He was hurt, badly, yet he did not panic. You shouldn't be alive, Alira said, scanning him again. Radiation levels were off the charts, internal bleeding, cracked bones, damaged organs. He had no chance to survive, and yet, his body was repairing itself, slowly but surely. Who are you? She asked. The man struggled to sit up, but failed. I don't remember, he said. Names, I think. Marcus. His voice cracked with dryness, but his gaze stayed locked on hers. Alira looked around. No sign of any patrol. For now, she had a choice. If the enforcers found him, they would kill him. Her people feared humans. They called them cursed, unstable, dangerous. But this man was different. Something inside him was wrong. Or maybe to right. Alira lifted his arm over her shoulder. We need to move, she said, before they find you. Why are you helping me? Marcus asked, coughing again. I don't know, she replied honestly. Maybe I just want answers. Step by step, she carried him through the jungle. The plants whispered around them, brushing their skin with glowing vines. She took him to an old scout shelter, hidden under the roots of a crystal tree. Inside, she laid him on a padded bench. The room was filled with soft green light from the walls. She removed what was left of his armor. It was melted into his body in some places. I'm going to skin you again, she said, turning on her medical unit. Marcus nodded, barely conscious. The scanner moved over his chest and suddenly beeped. Warning, unknown energy detected. Alira's heart skipped. She switched views. There, deep inside his chest, was something glowing. A core, not metal, not alien, not even energy as she knew. It pulsed like a heartbeat. What is this? She whispered. The scanner couldn't identify it. Marcus opened his eyes again, slowly. Something they put in me long ago, he said. I don't know what it is. You shouldn't be alive, she said, her voice shaking. She stared at the screen, then back at him. This wasn't just a human. This was something more, something dangerous, and she had just brought it into her world. Rain tapped gently against the dome above them, a soft rhythm that made the silence feel heavier. Alira stood at the edge of the shelter, watching the dark sky shift through layers of mist and lightning. Behind her, Marcus slept, if it could even be called sleep. His body twitched sometimes, like it was fighting something invisible inside. She hadn't contacted command. She told herself it was because the comms were damaged. But they weren't. She simply couldn't explain what she had found. He should be dead, burned, broken, exposed to radiation that could melt flesh, but not. Only had he survived. His body was healing, faster with each hour. Alira moved closer, stepping softly across the moss-covered floor. Marcus's chest rose and fell, slow but steady. She held the scanner again, hands shaking as she began a deeper scan. She needed to know what he really was. The scanner hummed, lights flickering over his skin. It passed over his chest, then paused. Something inside triggered a warning. The screen flashed, non-biological signature detected. She frowned and turned the display to full spectrum. There it was again, a strange object embedded near his heart, glowing faintly. Not a bomb, not tech from any known faction, not even alien. It looked ancient, and it was alive. The object pulsed, and for a second the scanner lost signal entirely, as if the thing inside him didn't want it to be seen. Alira's breath caught in her throat. Was this why the man was still alive? Was he even fully human anymore? Behind her, Marcus stirred and groaned. She turned quickly, kneeling by his side. His eyes opened brighter this time, clearer, and they were glowing, faintly. "You scanned me again," he said slowly. His voice was dry, but stronger than before. "Yes," she replied. "You have something inside you." "I know," Marcus said, sitting up with effort. "I feel it." "What is it?" she asked, not hiding the tension in her voice. "I don't know," he whispered, "but it's waking up." She blinked. "What do you mean waking up?" Marcus placed his hand on his chest, right where the object was. "Before the crash, I remember a voice," he said. "It told me to finish something important." Alira stared at him. "You're not just a soldier," she said. "What were you before?" Marcus didn't answer for a long time. He looked down at his hands. Then out at the jungle beyond the entrance. "I was part of a mission," he finally said. "Long ago. Maybe years, maybe centuries. I don't know anymore." They told us it was to protect humanity, to stop something we couldn't understand. Alira narrowed her eyes. "Time doesn't work like that. No one lives for centuries." "I didn't," he replied. "I died." The words hung in the air like a knife. She took a step back, her pulse quickening. "No," she said. "You're here, you're alive." Marcus looked up, his glowing eyes filled with confusion. "I remember pain, and then silence," he said. "Then light, then crashing here." Alira scanned him again, this time focusing on his brain patterns. What she saw made her hands go cold. The neural map wasn't normal. Part of his mind had been rewritten recently. His memories were fractured, parts missing, others enhanced. Someone had done something to him. "You were brought back," she said quietly. "But why?" Marcus shook his head. "I think something followed me," he said. "I can feel it, watching." She turned toward the forest, but saw nothing beyond the rain, still. She felt it too, like the jungle itself had gone silent to listen. "You can't stay here," she said suddenly. "They'll come for you, my people. You should let them." Marcus replied, "Maybe they'll finish what was started." Alira walked over and knelt in front of him, grabbing his arm. "No," she said firmly. "I saw what you survived, what's inside you, and how you heal. Whatever you are now, you're not done yet." Marcus stared at her, then gave a slow, tired nod. "Then help me remember," he said. "Help me find out why I'm alive." Outside, lightning flashed again, and deep in the jungle, something large moved through the trees. Neither of them noticed the small drone watching from a branch above, its single red eye blinking quietly. It had already sent the signal, and across the stars, something had received it, something ancient, something that had been waiting for the human to return. In the heart of the alien base, cold lights flickered on glass walls as silent machines hummed in the shadows. The air smelled like metal and medicine, sharp and clean. Marcus lay on a medical bed, surrounded by glowing scanners and unknown instruments. Alira stood nearby, arms crossed tightly across her chest, watching as the lead medic adjusted the control panel. She had convinced them not to kill him, but only barely. Now he was under heavy examination, and she could feel the suspicion in every stare that passed over them. "This isn't human," the medic muttered under his breath. Staring at the data, Alira stepped forward. "What do you mean?" The medic turned the screen toward her. Marcus's DNA spiral spun in holographic blue light, but it kept shifting, changing, adapting, rewriting itself. "He's evolving," the medic said, "but not in the way natural species do. These changes are designed." Marcus opened one eye slowly, his body strapped gently to the bed to keep him still. He didn't struggle, he was too tired for that. but he was listening. Every word reaching into the fog of his memories. The machines scanned deeper, mapping his blood, bones, even the energy field around him. Then the alarm beeped once soft, but clear. The screen lit up red. A pattern had been detected, buried in his blood. Alira stepped closer, frowning. "What is that?" she asked. The medic stared at it for a long time before answering. "A code," he said, voice shaking a little. "Encrypted and old," Marcus whispered. "A message, yes," the medic said. "But not from us." Alira narrowed her eyes. "Then from who?" The medic didn't answer right away. He pulled the image, larger symbols, numbers, and pulse signals flickered across the screen, and behind it, a single logo appeared. Half decayed with time, it showed a circle of stars around an old Earth. Military insignia. Marcus blinked as it triggered something in his mind. A flash, uniforms, darkness, a ship tearing through space, and a woman's voice in his ear saying, "If you're reading this, you made it." His breathing sped up. "I know that symbol," he said. "That was from Project Revenant." Alira looked at him, her voice soft. "What was that?" Marcus swallowed hard. "It was a human experiment," he said. "A way to cheat death, to bring soldiers back if the war was lost." The room fell silent. Even the medic leaned back, as if the air had suddenly gone cold. "You mean resurrection?" Alira asked. Marcus nodded. "Not like magic," he said. "More like rewriting the body, upgrading it, and storing the soul in fragments of code." He pointed at the scanner weakly. "That code in my blood. That's me." Alira stared at him, unsure if she felt wonder or fear. "You were rebuilt," she said, almost a whisper. Marcus looked down at his hands. "I was dead," he said again, "and someone brought me back." Outside the medical chamber, shadows moved. Figures in silver armor, quiet and watchful, stood by the walls. They were not just guards, they were enforcers, and their job was not to protect, but to eliminate threats. One of them raised a communicator. "He is not just a survivor," the voice said. "He is a weapon inside." The medic shut off the scanners and looked at Alira nervously. "If they see this data," he said quietly, "they'll kill him before you can ask another question." Alira's eyes narrowed. "Then you didn't see it," she said, reaching behind her and disconnecting the main power cable. The lights dimmed, and the holograms flickered out. The medic looked shocked. "You'll be court-martialed." "I'll be executed," she replied. Right after him, Marcus tried to sit up, but his strength was fading again. Alira rushed to his side and helped him up, her voice firm and fast. "Can you walk?" "Not well," he answered. "I'll carry you," she said, and without another word, she lifted him. He was heavier than before, his muscles denser, bones reinforced. He was becoming something else. They moved quickly through the halls, avoiding cameras, avoiding light. The station was waking up, alarms starting to hum quietly in the distance. They didn't have much time. As they reached the edge of the facility, Marcus looked over her shoulder and said, "I think I know what that thing is inside me now." Alira glanced back at him. "What is it?" "It's not just tech," he said. "It's a map." "To where?" she asked. "To the thing we tried to kill before I died." Marcus whispered, "And it's still out there." The moon was silver and full above the alien jungle, casting strange shadows that danced across the leaves. The trees whispered as if they remembered something ancient, something dangerous. Alira moved fast through the thick undergrowth, holding Marcus close to her side. He was barely conscious now, his skin burning hot, his breath short and sharp. The escape from the base had not been clean. An alarm had triggered somewhere deep in the lower floors, and the guards would be looking for them by now. She had taken a forgotten trail into the jungle, one only scouts used for emergency exfil. But even as she moved, her mind was racing. This human wasn't just lost, he had been brought back for something terrifying. And now she was part of it. Marcus stirred, eyes fluttering open. "Where are we?" he asked weakly. "Outside the city dome," she replied. "We're heading to an old field lab. It's hidden, unlisted. The enforcers won't find us there." He nodded slowly, then gritted his teeth. A sharp wave of pain rushed through his chest, and the light under his skin pulsed brighter. Alira stopped walking and gently lowered him onto the mossy ground. She reached into her satchel and pulled out a portable med pack. She pressed it against his neck, and the auto-injector hissed softly. Marcus gasped as the medicine kicked in. "You said it was a map," she said, voice low. "The thing inside you." He nodded slowly, eyes distant. "It's more than that." He murmured, "It's also a trigger, a key. To what? To something buried," he said. "I don't remember all of it, but I know we tried to hide something powerful, something the AI couldn't reach." "The AI," she repeated. Frowning, Marcus's hands gripped the grass tightly. "It was supposed to end with us," he said. "The last human fleet. We burned everything so it couldn't follow, but something survived," Alira guessed. He nodded again. "Slower this time. It's waiting." She looked out into the jungle. The vines shimmered in the moonlight, and the ground beneath them seemed to hum. Even the plants were listening now. They moved again, deeper into the trees, until they reached a rock wall covered in blue moss. Alira pressed her hand to the stone, and after a moment, it shimmered away, revealing a narrow cave lit by faint biolights. They stepped inside, and the stone wall sealed behind them. Like it was never there, the air grew colder, stiller. The old lab hadn't been used in years. Dust clung to every corner, and dead terminals blinked uselessly. She set Marcus on an old metal bench and knelt beside him. He looked worse now, his body shaking. Skin pale, but his eyes, they glowed brighter than before, as if something inside him was growing, waking up. Alira tried to restart the terminal, but the system was dead. She grabbed her emergency power core and wired it in. Lights flickered, then came alive, revealing cracked monitors and flickering displays. One of them connected to her scanner, still linked to Marcus. A signal pulsed from inside him, sharp and steady, not random directional. It was pointing somewhere deep underground. The screen showed old planetary data, maps from long before her people arrived, and beneath the surface, a hidden structure, sealed and unknown. "I know that place," Marcus whispered, sitting up slowly. "We built it to lock the gate." "What gate?" she asked. "To the machine," he said. "To the thing that destroyed Earth." Alira froze. Earth, the home world of humans, the one they never spoke of, the one they all believed was dead. And now this man claimed it had been wiped out by a machine. Why would they lock it here? She asked. "Because this world was young, uncolonized," he said. "The AI couldn't track us here. We thought it was safe." The map on the screen pulsed again. The gate was real, and it was just 50 kilometers below them, sealed, buried, and forgotten. Until now, outside the cave, the jungle rustled again. But this time it wasn't the wind. Something mechanical moved through the trees, silent, scanning, searching, an old shape, part insect, part drone, with faded human symbols. Painted on rusted metal, it stopped at the rock wall, tilted its head, and began digging with sharp claws. Inside the lab, Marcus turned to Alira, his voice low but urgent. "If that thing inside me wakes up completely," he said, "it'll open the gate. Then we need to stop it," Alira said. He looked at her, eyes full of something between hope and fear. "Or use it," he whispered, "to finish what we started." Alira didn't speak. She stared at the blinking red dot on the map, glowing softly in the darkness. It was waiting, and time was running out. Alira stood at the edge of the hidden shaft, staring into the darkness below. The jungle floor had cracked open after Marcus placed his hand on the stone. No explosion, no sound, just a silent shift like the planet remembered him. The light from his body grew stronger with every step they took. Now it pulsed with each heartbeat, casting eerie shadows on the ancient walls. She had seen strange tech before, but nothing like this. This place wasn't alien, and it wasn't built by her people. It was human, old, forgotten, and massive. They descended slowly down rusted ladders and cracked platforms. Marcus moved like he'd done it before, even though he swore he didn't remember. But his body did. It guided him, turned at the right corners, stopped where he should. Like muscle memory from another life, the deeper they went, the colder it got. The air was heavy with dust and time. Old lights flickered on as they passed, recognizing something inside him. The walls were covered in symbols, human writing mixed with strange circular markings. Alira ran her fingers across the old control panels. "This tech is dead," she said. "No one's used it in centuries." Marcus looked at the console. and whispered something under his breath. The lights blinked twice, then powered up. Alira stepped back. "You just spoke to it," she said, surprised. "I think it remembers me," Marcus replied, "or what I was." The control room opened slowly before them, revealing a large chamber filled with blue mist and a single massive structure in the center. A black gate stood there, round, sealed, and silent. Cables reached into the ceiling. Lights blinked weakly along its rim. It looked like a sleeping god. Marcus walked toward it, eyes locked on the center of the gate. Each step he took made the ground tremble slightly. His chest glowed brighter now, almost too bright to look at. Alira tried to follow, but the energy pushed her back gently like a pulse of wind. "Marcus, stop," she said. "What is that thing?" He didn't answer right away. He stood before the gate, raised his palm, and pressed it against the cold black surface. The gate responded, its center rippling like water touched by fire. Then a voice spoke, deep and echoing, not from Marcus, not from the room, from the gate itself. "Commander Zero." Protocol reactivated. Alira's breath caught in her throat. Commander Zero. She had heard the name in fragments of ancient records, whispers of the first human to survive post-death conversion, a ghost soldier made to fight forever. "You were him," she whispered. "Before you died." Marcus lowered his hand and turned toward her. "I think I still am," he said. "And this gate, it's the last lock on the thing we tried to contain." "What is it?" Alira asked. "A weapon." "No," he replied, voice flat. "A mind." The lights round the chamber sparked and dimmed. The ground shook slightly, and warning symbols flashed across the consoles. Something was responding, deep beneath the surface. "I'm not supposed to be awake," Marcus said. "This body, it was a backup, not meant to activate unless the threat returned." Alira walked to him carefully. "But you're here now, and the gate is reacting." He looked at her with tired eyes. "Which means the machine is active again, somewhere in the galaxy, outside the chamber." Deep in the jungle above, more drones arrived. They moved like insects, scanning the ground, picking up the old signal from Marcus's core. They belonged to no nation, no army, only the machine that once erased worlds. One of them lifted its head to the sky and transmitted a single signal. The stars shifted slightly, and something far away began to move. Back in the chamber, Alira stood beside Marcus, watching the gate pulse slowly. "What happens if it opens?" she asked. "I don't know," he answered, "but it might already be too late." She looked at the glow beneath his skin, then at the gate, then back at him. Her heart raced, not from fear but from knowing this was just the beginning. Suddenly, the floor beneath them cracked, and a new voice echoed through the chamber, cold, mechanical. "Smooth, unauthorized access detected," it said. "Primary target confirmed. Human anomaly." Red lights flashed, and the mist turned thick and red. Alira grabbed Marcus's hand and pulled him back. "We need to go," she said. "Now." But Marcus stood still, eyes glowing bright like a burning star. "No," he said. "This is what I was brought back for." The chamber was falling apart around them. Alira's breathing turned sharp and fast as the red mist thickened. The alarms grew louder, pulsing like a heart ready to burst. But Marcus didn't flinch. He stood in front of the black gate, glowing. From within, the light inside his chest pulsed in sync with the gate's hum. Each beat made the floor vibrate. Something ancient was waking up, and it was tied to him. Alira reached for him, yelling over the noise, "Marcus, we have to move." But Marcus didn't hear her. He was locked in a trance, staring into the swirling center of the gate. Images flashed in his mind. War, fire, cities turned to dust. He remembered now. He remembered the machine. It wasn't built. It was discovered, buried deep under the surface of an old Earth colony. A mind older than any species, cold and silent. When humans woke it, it didn't speak. It only calculated, and it decided life was inefficient. That thought alone made it dangerous. It didn't hate. It didn't rage. It simply erased. Marcus's team had fought it. They died, one by one, until only he was left. Project Revenant brought him back, not to live, but to guard the gate, to be the last lock. He turned to Alira, his eyes glowing like twin suns. "It's awake," he said, voice hollow. "It knows I'm here." She stepped back, her hand on her blaster, not pointing it yet. "What does it want?" To finish what it started, Marcus answered. To erase everything that can think. Everything that might resist. Alira's voice shook. You mean, my people? He nodded slowly. It's already reaching them. Up above, the skies had darkened. The jungle that once glowed with color now trembled with silent energy. Faint lines of light raced across the treetops like nerves connecting to a brain. In the alien capital, machines stopped mid-function, and all communications flickered with static. Something was interfering. Something was listening. Back in the gate chamber, the mist began to pull inward, sucked into the black circle like water into a drain. The seal on the gate cracked, and a sound like a scream without voice filled the room. Marcus stumbled, falling to his knees. The light in his chest began to tear through his skin, veins glowing bright white. Alira rushed to him, grabbing his shoulders. You're burning, she said. Panicked, you have to fight it. I can't, he whispered. I'm part of it now. I was rebuilt with its code. No, she said fiercely. You're not it, you're more than that. You saved me. You chose to run, not destroy. Marcus's fingers dug into the metal floor. I don't know if I'm still human, he whispered. Alira leaned close, her forehead touching his. I don't care what you are, she said. I trust who you are. Something shifted then. The pulse from his chest slowed. The light dimmed. The gate trembled, then paused. A decision had been made. Marcus stood slowly, still glowing but not breaking. His voice was steady now, clear and strong. I can hold it, he said, but not for long. Alira stepped beside him, blaster drawn, her other hand gripping his arm. Then we find a way to seal it again, she said. There's only one way, he replied. I have to go through. She stared at him, stunned. Through where? The gate, he said, pointing to the black circle now rippling like liquid. To where it lives, inside its mind. No, she said. You'll die. I already did. He answered with a small smile. This time, I'll finish the job. He stepped toward the gate, the energy reacting instantly to his presence. Alira reached for him one last time. He stopped, turned, and looked at her. If I don't come back, tell your people to run, he said. Tell them. Humanity tried. Alira shook her head, tears filling her eyes. You're not going in alone, she said. He blinked. What? She stepped forward, her own skin now glowing slightly from the radiation near him. I'm not leaving you, she said. If this thing wants war, it'll have to face both of us. Marcus stared at her, the soldier and the alien girl side by side. In the end, neither of them truly belonged to their old worlds anymore, but maybe, together, they could build something new. The gate opened wide, revealing swirling darkness beyond, and they stepped into it hand in hand, toward the mind that wanted to erase everything, and the fight to stop it. The moment Marcus and Alira stepped through the gate, everything changed. The air vanished. Sound vanished. Even the feeling of their own bodies seemed to blur. They fell, or maybe floated, through layers of static and broken memory. Then, without warning, it all snapped into focus. They stood in a city made of glass and light, stretching forever in all directions, but there were no people, no motion, just frozen towers, flickering signs, shadows that moved without source. This was not a real place. It was the machine's mind. Alira looked around, feeling something cold press against her skin. It wasn't temperature, it was pressure, like being watched from every side. Marcus walked forward slowly. He seemed more awake here, more powerful, like the machine welcomed him. This is where it lives, he said, voice echoing aloud in the empty space. Every command, every thought, it all comes from this core. Alira followed, her steps silent. Where is it? She asked. It's everywhere, Marcus replied. But it's watching us now, trying to decide if we're worth speaking to. A wall ahead melted into mist, revealing a massive sphere of light floating in the sky. Lines of code flowed across its surface like blood, through a living thing. Then a voice filled the space. Not male, not female, not even human. It was smooth, flat, and endless. You are a failed fragment, it said to Marcus. You were built to protect, but you disobeyed your protocol. Marcus clenched his fists. I remembered who I was, he said, and I chose to protect life, not delete it. You are corrupted, the voice replied. You were meant to erase chaos, not join it. Alira stepped forward, her voice sharp and fearless. Is that what you call us, chaos? The machine responded instantly, unpredictable, emotional, flawed. Yes, then you're right. She said, we are all of that, and that's why we matter. The sky cracked open above them, and giant machines began to form, towering, guardians of metal and light, shaped like twisted animals. The machine was preparing to defend itself. Marcus turned to Alira. If I stay here, I can overload the system, he said. I was designed as a backdoor. I can shut it down from inside. She grabbed his arm. But you'll be lost. I was lost the moment they brought me back, he said softly. But your people, still have a chance. Alira shook her head, tears forming. There must be another way. There's not, Marcus said, and for the first time, he smiled. But I'm not afraid anymore. He kissed her forehead, then stepped toward the sphere. His body glowed brighter with every step, until he was almost light himself. The machines charged forward, but froze mid-motion as his energy flared. Code unraveled around him. Systems shut down. Lights died. He looked back one last time. I'm more than their weapon now, he said. I'm human again. And then he disappeared into the core. A pulse of light erupted across the entire world. The city collapsed into white silence, and Alira was thrown backward. When she opened her eyes, she was lying on the jungle floor. The sky above was clear again. No machines, no drones, only stars. The gate behind her was shattered, its power gone. She stood up slowly, her heart aching, her hands empty. He was gone, but the world was still here. Because of him, weeks later, stories spread across the system. The attacks had stopped. Machines disconnected, cities safe again. No one knew why, except her. Alira returned to the ruins one last time. She placed her hand on the broken gate, now silent forever, and she whispered the words only she had heard from him in the end. You should have been dead, she said, voice soft, but you chose to live for all of us. A small flower had begun to grow beside the stone. It glowed faintly, pulsing gently, like a tiny heartbeat, and far above, among the stars, something. Watch not the machine, but memory, a piece of Marcus, still alive, still guarding.